Don't worry, get cooking. Ooh, 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 ooh. Don't worry, get cooking.
Hi guys, happy Sunday. Welcome back to my channel, Don't Worry, Get Cooking. Today we're going to make one of the most well-known Italian recipes in the world, pizza. So before we get started though, I want to make sure you have all the equipment necessary to make this recipe. The first thing you'll need is a rolling pin, like this. The second thing you'll need, and this one is very important to be able to make the pizza easily, is a pizza pan, shovel. This will allow you to put in the pizza in the oven and take it out very easily. And then the last thing you'll need, and this is super important as well, is this pizza stone. It's sold everywhere, places like John Lewis or any kitchen and department store. And it's really important because we're going to have to heat this pizza stone in the oven for approximately an hour before being able to cook our pizza. So let's start by making the most important part of the whole recipe, which is making the pizza dough. You'll need a series of different ingredients. First of all, 300 grams of white flour. This has already been measured out. Salt. 200 grams of semolina flour. 35 milliliters of olive oil. And 200 milliliters of room temperature water. Then we'll need 15 grams of yeast. I have this beer yeast that I froze in the freezer, so now it has to unfreeze. And once it's unfrozen, I'm going to melt 15 grams in a small cup with a little bit of hot water and set it aside. Okay, so let's start by making the pizza dough. Remove all bracelets and everything from your wrists, and let's get started. So you'll pour the 300 grams of white flour in a bowl, followed by the 200 grams of semolina flour. After the flours, we're going to add the yeast, which has been dissolving in hot water. And then we're going to pour half of our water, half of the 300 milliliters. Now let's start working on it with our hands. Going to start looking a bit sandy and fraily like this. At this point, we add quite a bit of salt in it. And we mix again. Now, let's pour in the rest of the water. And mix. If necessary, like in this case when your dough is a little bit too sticky, just pour a little bit more flour on top and mix again. As the next thing, we make a small hole in the center of the dough and we start pouring half of the olive oil. And we mix. When the first half is fully incorporated, we're going to add the rest of the olive oil in. And knead again. It has come together like this. and we're gonna transfer it on our board or on our table. Pour some more flour on top. And knead again, this time on the table directly. Okay, now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna make this dough into a ball, just like this. Place it on our table and let it rest for 10 minutes covered by the bowl. Now the dough has rested for 10 minutes and it will have relaxed and opened up like this. We're going to sprinkle some more flour on top of it and flip it around. And now, spreading it wide, we're going to take the 4 corners and pull them in the middle like this, as if we were wrapping a gift. You then make it into a small package and flip it around again. Knead it into a ball. Transfer the ball back into the bowl. Okay, we're gonna cover our bowl with cling film. Wrap it super tightly. And leave this dough to rest for approximately an hour and a half. 2 hours is even better. So yes, if we want to make pizza, get prepared with your dough earlier on in the day. Okay, so now let's start with phase 2 of the recipe. The beautiful thing about pizza is that you can really put anything you want on top, except pineapple, please. First one is the classic margherita, for which we're gonna need 2 mozzarellas for. I have a bigger one and a small one, if not 3 of the small ones. Tomato sauce, which is the base that you need for everything. I make my tomato sauce with some small Dafferini tomatoes. I mix this with onion and a little bit of tomato passata sauce and some salt, and I blend all of this together in the blender. We're just gonna add some basil leaves to it and leave it on the side. For margherita, we're also gonna need lots and lots of basil. I have a basil plant outside, so take as much as you can. And we're gonna need our mozzarella. Let's cut the mozzarella into cubes. So I'll be making the Roman style pizza, which has a very thin crust. And in order to keep it crispy, what is really important that we do is that we dry off the mozzarella from all the excess moisture with some kitchen paper. If we skip this step, then the mozzarella will leak while cooking and will make the whole dough soggy. So it's really important to just dry the mozzarella up. Okay, so what I love on top of pizza, even margherita pizza, is a lot of garlic. So now let's chop the garlic into teeny tiny pieces that we're gonna add on top of the pizza before cooking. So now we have all the ingredients necessary for a pizza margherita: our chopped mozzarella, our chopped garlic, and our tomato sauce, and our basil plant outside. So once the dough has risen, we're ready to make pizza. Before you want to eat, you're gonna put the pizza stone in the oven and heat it at 240 degrees for at least 1 hour. Okay, after 2 hours resting, we can see the pastry has doubled in size is now completely risen. Okay, now that our dough is ready and has completely risen, we're ready to roll out our first pizza. We'll take the dough out of the bowl, place it on a lightly floured board or table, and remove a small section of the dough for the first pizza. I like making small pizzas so I can make very different varieties. So this amount is enough. It's approximately as big as my hand. And let's roll it. Place it on a floured surface. Flour it again. Flour your rolling pin as well. And we're gonna first roll it vertically, like this. Like I said before, I'm making Roman style pizza, so it'll be super thin and super crispy. We then flip it around and roll it horizontally as well. In this whole process, the most important thing is to remember to flour everything all the time. Perfect. Now, what I like to do is to put the condiments of the pizza directly on the pizza shovel. So we add some flour again on top. We then transfer the dough that we've rolled out onto the shovel. As you can see, the dough is super thin and super transparent, as you can see my hand. And we're gonna transfer it on top of our pizza shovel. Now, before we add our condiments, let's make sure the pizza dough has not stuck to the shovel by simply moving it like this. And let's add our tomato sauce as the base. Okay, then we add our shredded mozzarella on top evenly. Then we add some basil leaves, some garlic, just all over, and finally a nice drizzle of olive oil. And there is our pizza before it goes in the oven. Our oven has been heating at 240 degrees for 45 minutes. And let's put our pizza inside. You just shake your shovel and push it in. Ah, look at this. I love it. After 10 minutes, it'll be perfectly crispy and we can take it out. And now let's cut it up into slices. Thank you so much for following my recipe for Pizza Margherita. That's pizza on my feet. I'm already through my first slice. I hope you really enjoyed the recipe, and I can assure you that it's super easy to make. It just takes a few ingredients and you'll get an amazing pizza at home. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next Sunday for a delicious new Italian recipe. Don't forget, don't worry, get cooking.